everybody goes through trials and tribulations, and always see uh, you're gonna hit rock bottom a couple times in life. Me personally, I feel like I hit rock bottom about 4 times, and I think it's needed. It's needed. The first time I hit rock bottom, I think I'm one of the more consistent people when it comes to having jobs. Like I'll stay at a job for years, for a long time. And I always thought that was good. I thought it was a good thing to be loyal to a company. But when you really sit back, and this is things that I learned in the past, like this isn't something I learned during the process. It was kind of like when it was over with. These businesses do not care about you. You're literally just a number. Yes, they love it when you stay there for years, but it's no benefit for you. It's more of a benefit for them. So you'll be at this job. Me personally, I think I said it. If you're one of those people that's seen a couple of my videos, I was at a job for over a decade, and I say it a million times because it was a huge part of my life. So it's hard to just bypass it like it never happened. But I was at the job for so long. And of course, when you're at a job for that long, which is not normal, you'll see people come and go, be there for a couple months, leave, be there for a couple days and leave. There's been times where I trained people and they was gone before the training session was over. And I would always look at those people like they're doing something. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not getting a job and staying there? And of course, when you want to go get a car, want to buy a house that's good on your um, credit or whatever, when they see that you've been in a job for so long, well, not your credit, but you know what I mean, like your work history, certain places want to see that you've been at a job for a long time because it makes them feel comfortable with giving you a certain loan in any type of capacity. Well, the reason why I'm bringing up I was at a job for so long, it hit me even harder when I lose my jobs because I'm there for so long. If you're there for a couple of months, it's not really a bad transition because you only been there a couple of months. Me, there for years, get settled in, get comfortable. It's all I know. It's a part of my routine. I'm used to the money I'm making. So when it all falls apart, it falls apart. Rock bottom, but every after monthly pay, it gets repeated. Yes, sir. So I I definitely hit it rock bottom a couple times, but at the time, it's the worst feeling ever. I know everybody feels that when you hit rock bottom, it is the worst feeling ever. It feels like your life is over with. It's a scary thing. Me, I left a job on my own, but I also lost a job. And of course, when you lose a job that you've been at for a long time, it is life changing. I'm talking about it sucks. But sometimes it's a wake up call. Sometimes it's telling you, it's like everything happens for a reason. I hate that quote, but then I love it because, of course, in the moment when something happens, it's some terrible things that can happen to you. And it's hard to just be like, well, everything happens for a reason. No, that is like the most annoying thing to hear. Rock bottom is when I went out of money. Yeah, yeah. Is it really rock bottom? I feel like rock bottom is when you like in a space where you like literally have no other things that you can, I guess, for you. I can't debate when your rock bottom is, but for rock bottom for me is like a huge transition. It's like you're at the bottom, is no choice, other choice but to go the other way and start completely over. You can't feel like that every time you lose money. I don't know. Maybe you can. Um, Me personally, I never had a lot of money my entire life, so to your point, I guess I was at rock bottom my whole life, but I mean more of like you got to start completely over. Like some people be homeless, some people got to go back to their parents' house. Like that's what I mean by rock bottom. And I feel like if you're at rock bottom your whole life, that's just your life, and maybe you just need to change it. Not you personally, but I'm just saying that was my perspective on rock bottom. But people could have different perspectives. I feel like it's needed because it kind of opens your eyes up to there's more to life, or maybe you should go a different direction. You know, I never really have a conversation with people about rock bottom because a lot of people don't even want to open up and explain, like, because they could be at that period at the moment, but they're not going to just tell somebody that. I feel like that's something you talk about once you're out of that situation. Like me. Like I could never talk about this if I was literally currently at rock bottom. I wouldn't even want to talk about it. I'm too busy worrying about what I'm gonna do next, what decisions I'm gonna make next. But it just sucks when it comes to these jobs because they can just fire you at any moment. They want us to give our 2 weeks when we're about to leave, but at any moment they can fire you. And what most jobs usually do, they'll like have a list of things. Like they'll start tallying every time you're late, every time you make a mistake, every time you do this, and you're just signing stuff, not thinking too much of it because it's like little petty stuff. But then when the business is not going really well and they're trying to lay off people, you're going to be the first one. And that's kind of what happened with me. But I wasn't really upset because it was all my fault. I'm talking about me always trying to do stuff outside of work, trying to build outside of work. Eventually, it's hard to go to work. And that's how it was for me. I'm like, I'm constantly making the same amount of money, doing the same work, not progressing anywhere in life. So it was hard for me to just keep going to the same job, especially if they won't even let you move up. You're just stuck in the same spot. And it bothered me. Hey, Les, I wasn't watching you live. I was a couple minutes back. Can you repeat yourself, please, if you mentioned something about my comment? Oh, I was agreeing with you a little bit. I laughed a little bit when you said something about rock bottom for me is when I run out of money. I was just pretty much saying I always thought that rock bottom was when you lose everything and you got to start completely over, like start from scratch. That's what I thought rock bottom was. But then I was like, well, rock bottom could be different for everybody. And that could be rock bottom for you could be running out of money. Me personally, I don't feel like that is rock bottom because if it's yes, building outside of work is important. Yes, but the issue is with building outside of work, it's like you're doing double the work as far as building and going to work, and it could be exhausting. It's discouraging. And what happened to me was me building outside of work made me hate the job even more. Yeah, I got you on rock bottom. Yeah, like it, I wasn't saying you was wrong. I was pretty much saying if that's your definition, I was just saying what I thought rock bottom was and what I was always told. And yeah, like me working, trying to do other stuff outside of work and going to work, I don't mind working, but it's like the more you build outside of work, the harder it is to get there. But you still need the job because bills don't stop. Bills are gonna keep coming. Bills are gonna keep showing at your doorstep, and it just I am happy for the people that was able to make the transition to leaving the job and it being able to be full time doing what they really love because this stuff is difficult. This stuff is difficult. And for me, I know people hit rock bottom for different reasons, but my rock bottom came from me investing in stuff outside of work, like keep investing. And it was discouraging because the more I invest, the less money I had, the more I had to go back to work and do overtime, the more it made me burnt out from work because I was like, I'm tired of this. So it's like I appreciated the rock bottoms because it opened my mind up to okay, this isn't working, do something else. If I never hit rock bottom, I would continue to do the same thing over and over again. And that's why I said my definition of rock bottom is like losing everything. And I lost everything in my life. I felt like about four times. And it always made me stronger because when I was homeless at a point, yeah, because I'm glad living at my parents' place until I'm training is done. And after that, I would get to the point of living on my own. That's why I said rock bottom when I'm out of money. No, that's good that you're able to live at your parents' house until because I hate to sound like a broken record, but everything's expensive now. Like it's difficult. When I was growing up, I'm talking about rent was like I don't want to over exaggerate or aim too low, but it was like 700 for a one bedroom apartment. And like you can get a not a part-time job, but you can work at a grocery store or a Target or something. You'll be barely getting by, but you was able to have your own stuff. Like now everything's so expensive. I know in the black community, like it's frowned upon when your kids are with you for too long. Like, and I'm not even saying you're black, but I'm just saying like from my perspective, you're kind of kicked out of the house when you're 18 for whatever reason. So it was like that's how I knew how much a one bedroom apartment was because I had to figure it out. But I always I'm big on if you have kids, let them stay, let them build. Yeah, you can give them little responsibilities while as they're growing, but don't just kick them out because now they rock bottom is inevitable. You're gonna hit rock bottom a couple times if you're just thrown out into the world. And I'm not talking about like literally like they be like you're 18, your 18th birthday, they kick you out, but it just starts being uncomfortable being in the home once you're of age because they'll just start hitting that stuff or like the attitude changes and it's not they're supposed to be there to guide you and I'm not judging any parents that do this but I'm always a bit the other side they let their kids stay with them 23, 24, finish college you always have a place to stay. But it's like for us, you're out on your own, and I learned everything the hard way. And I would feel like I am a more responsible person, and I still hit rock bottom. So I only can like imagine people that are materialistic or people that are putting up a persona. I can only imagine them hit rock bottom. I mean, you could get lucky, but it's like when you're on your own for the first time, you really got to be on your bills because you got to switch up all your habits. You got to make sure you pay them people because I'll never forget when I was about to lose my first apartment. I'm talking about, I remember I used to have friends over all the time. We would play the game. Anything you could, I had all the systems. We would play all the time. But then when stuff hit the fan and I just didn't have the money to pay rent, I was by myself, sitting in the living room with a dirty couch, a little small chair, and I was just sitting there. I didn't know what to do. Like I was just lost. Everything worked out, but that taught me, like, for one, everybody's not your friend. For two, all that fun stuff, trying to provide for everybody, making sure everybody else comfortable. When stuff hit the fan, you're gonna be there by yourself. And I'm trying to think other times I hit rock bottom, but that was the first one. I believe the second one was had two jobs, lost both of them, and yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, that was the second time. Yeah, that was definitely the second time when I hit rock bottom. But I mean, that was the first time. The second time when I was had two jobs, went from two jobs to no jobs, and I'm talking about had to move back with my dad, and he didn't have a lot of room, so I had to. I don't know if everybody knows, but it's like a house, and like right before you get outside in the backyard, it's like a little small area. I don't even think it's a room, but it was like a small area, and it was a two doors. No, it was three doors. It was a door to the back door, it was a door to the bathroom, and it was door to the living room. So it was like I had no privacy at all. And it was like being in that small little area, I was thankful because I wasn't out in the streets, or homeless like I was before. But it was bad. I'm talking about, especially when you're there and then you end up getting a couple jobs, and then now you got to build from scratch. So I don't know if anybody ever dealt with it where you had two jobs and you had to rebuild. So think of it as you really don't have no privacy. You don't got your own spot, but you're working two jobs and you're just working nonstop. And then when you get home from either one of the jobs, you go to this small little area, go to sleep, and that's all you have enough energy for, and you get back up. Now that's fine when you got your own spot. When you got your own apartment, you're like you get a little happiness just knowing, okay, when I'm done with this job and I ain't got to go to the next one, I get to go home and do what I want. Not me. My room was able to fit I think a 40-inch TV and a twin size bed. That was it. But as I was saying about that, I do remember the second time I hit rock bottom. I was staying with my mom, and she ended up leaving the state. And I had a choice. I don't think I made a bad choice, but I had a choice. I could either stay where I'm at or I could move with her. And of course, I have my whole life here. I had a woman I was talking to had a decent job, so I ended up staying, and it was a mistake. It was dumb. Everything fell apart, and it was I think right when I turned 18. But once again, I learned how to be a man at that point. Like that was my wake up call. That was like, yeah, for one, you might have made a good decision, but I feel like it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I think that's where all my responsibilities came from. I know I'm getting all the hitting rock bottoms all mixed up, but each one of them taught me something different. And I know for a fact the second time I hit rock bottom, that taught me like being a man and being responsible. The third one taught me like everybody's not your friend. Everybody is not your friend. I'm talking about you hear it all the time where they be like, when you're up, people will be around, but when you're down, like you're by yourself. That's a fact. That's a fact. And when I say up, I ain't talking about I had a lot of money. It was just I think I was the only one at the time out of my friend group that had an apartment. And it was a decent apartment too. It wasn't, and I'm talking about disappeared. I'm talking about I will. It's a nightmare to me now, but like sitting in the living room, all everything was paid. Like I think in apartments you just pay electricity, but there by myself, all the lights off, just sitting there like, what am I about to do? And I was helped. I don't know if anybody's familiar with MoneyGram, but yeah, somebody definitely helped me out. They got me out of the slums, you know what I'm saying? And I'm forever thankful for that person. But rock bottoms are needed. We need to hit rock bottom. Hopefully not far, too far where you're like too far gone, but everything needs to be stripped away from you so you can like go in a better direction. Not the right direction, not saying you was in the wrong direction, but a better direction because you can always do better. There's always room for improvement. I think for me, a lot of the times right before everything went wrong, I thought I was on top of the world. I thought I couldn't lose. I'm talking about as far as women, I was managing my money correctly, and it was just like one switch and everything disappeared. And I was humbled, definitely humble. And I was humble when it came to women too. It'd be a time in your life. I'm not gonna say most men, but a nice size of men, nice amount of men. That was wild. A nice amount of men. You'll go from not dealing with any women and then you'll deal with it like a nice amount. I'm not gonna say the amount, but a nice amount, and you just get a certain confidence where you're like, I can do whatever I want. Like, this is never gonna stop. And that's how I was. Like my confidence was, oh, this is gonna last forever. I don't even have to worry about progressing. I can just keep doing what I'm doing and I'm cool right here. And then everything flipped the script and it showed me not only was I not cool, but I should have been actually trying to progress and like setting myself up to give a little cushion so when things go wrong. Because for a lot of us living, I don't know about y'all or anybody that is going to watch this, that a lot of us do live paycheck to paycheck. I know people try to give off the persona and the image that they got a lot of money or they're good. And some people do have a little bit extra money where they can play around with. Me personally, I feel like my entire life I was living paycheck to paycheck. I never really felt like had enough move or like money to just be like, if this job lets me go, I'll be good for a couple of months. No, heck no. I was never in that position. And not saying I didn't try. That's why I hate when people try to make it seem like people living paycheck to paycheck or don't have a decent job, just automatically they're lazy or they're not trying. I'm speaking for myself. I definitely tried. I definitely put the effort in. I never stopped putting the effort in, and things just didn't work out how I wanted it to. Now I was complacent. That's what I was talking about earlier. I had been complacent in my life where I was just chilling, but it never been a time where I would have been lazy and just didn't care. Like I always cared. And it's just like a small percentage of people. Everybody can't get to like a certain level of success where they're just chilling, or everybody can't make $100,000 a year. It's not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people at the bottom that nobody wants to talk about. They think just because somebody makes 40K a year that they're lazy, they're not taking their, situation serious, or they're not I can't think of the word, but they're just not doing enough. But I was. And I still failed. And people talk about, we talked about it earlier. When you have a 9 to 5, you should do stuff on the side. I did that too, and it just didn't work out. And I'm not complaining, but people do need to understand there are people out here that are trying just as hard as people that are successful, and it just didn't work out. And as I said before, hitting rock bottom about 4 times, it was just me like just being complacent and not making the right decisions, and kind of just, I guess it was a mixture of settling and just appreciating my situation. It definitely was a mixture. And I feel like it was a little bit more of settling, but every time I hit rock bottom, it made me appreciate my situation even more. And I think a lot of us, not to judge, but a lot of us need to, lean, have like a fine line of settling and appreciating your situation because, the internet is open for everybody and we see bad situations all the time, whether, some of them might be AI. I don't believe anything anymore online, but yeah, that the rock bottoms will open you up. Yes, I work paycheck to paycheck right now, and as a side hustle, I trade with gold on TradingView, and it's starting to get to a point where I can't have a lot of fun and save money. Yeah, like weird. A lot of us are getting to the point where like it's either like be irresponsible and have fun, or be responsible and be bored. Like we are literally like giving our life to away, like a life away. Like they think somebody set, and this is just my conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do love conspiracies. It definitely feels like somebody like rigged the game where it's like you they limit everybody into just like eventually, once you keep trying to have fun and be irresponsible, they limit everybody to go to work and come home. And it's like everybody's slowly getting into that. And then there's a small percentage of people that just have a decent amount of money where they can kind of play around, and it makes us feel entitled to do the same thing. And then we push ourselves even deeper into the hole where we can't have fun for even longer. Fortunately, I met a guy who gives free signals out, and he calls very good trades, and it gives me a lot of opportunities. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're into something that's looking bright for you. That's wonderful. I know a couple of people that are in the like different stuff, and it works out for them. It's just the 9 to 5 world. You gotta do something. If you are cool with your situation and it's working out for you, that's good. But if you are able to get a trade or do anything else, you got to go for that, because you will just sit in the same spot for years, and you will be closer and closer to hitting rock bottom. You'll be so low, you'll be one my car stopped away, or my car, somebody took my car, or you know you got to pay rent or whatever, like anything. And then these holidays every month, these 2 or 3 holidays every month, including birthdays, don't help. It's like we're lit. I don't know. It just seems like it's a game, and the people that are higher up, like they switch it up whenever they want to, and they raise the prices whenever they want to. Where it's like life ain't even. When do you have time to enjoy it? Now you can do little stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's other things to have fun with. I always will be able to like just chill and relax. Now I don't really get bored anymore now that I'm older. Like I like my peace, but I do feel like if you're doing all you're supposed to do, if you're paying your bills and you're being responsible, I feel like you should be able to go do whatever you want whenever you want to. I feel like you should, but that's not the case. In order to get out of the 9 to 5 world, you low key got to be like an evil person and get over on people. And I say evil person because 9 times out of 10, if you got money and there's people around you that need help, you're either gonna help them and just stay low, or you're gonna be selfish. And you get my point. You got to be like an evil person and not, have no sympathy for the less fortunate to even get out of the slums of 9 to 5. You have to do that. Like there's no other way. You can't be a nice guy that's rich. I don't think that's possible. Or a nice woman that's rich. I think it's impossible. And they know that. They know people are not able to just say forget everybody and just have money. And I think that's a lonely world too. Just having, because that's a whole nother conversation. But it hey, let this live stream be uploaded to your channel so we can rewatch it. Yeah, every time. So, like I said, I know people got their own stuff going on. Um, every time I upload, I mean, go live, it's always going to be uploaded to the channel. So, like I said, I appreciate your time. I know this is early in the morning, people be at work, all type of stuff. All my lives will be uploaded. I apologize for the long intro at the beginning because I don't be knowing exactly when it's live, but yeah, you can always watch it on the watch back. Appreciate you watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, you know, maybe next live you'll enjoy it. But yeah, I really think everybody needs to have a wake up call where you lose. And it sounds crazy. I don't want to say you lose everything. I don't want to say that. That's ridiculous. I don't want you to lose everything. I want it to be you just hit that rock bottom or that certain point where it's like it's time to do better. Because you can either hit rock bottom and say F everything, or you can hit rock bottom and look back at yourself and be like, I could have did this, I could have made this better decision, I could have spent my money a different way. And I hope everybody has that, because I feel like everybody has a chance at greatness. And the problem is most people don't feel like they got that chance, so they give up early. And I talked about it yesterday on stream. Like it's painful to see like older people working at a job right next to me. Now, if they're just working, older people are working with me because they're retired and they're bored, that's one thing. But an older person that's worked next to me, it makes me feel like at some point they gave up. And I used to think this working at the grocery store. I'm talking about I used to work like a 6 to 2, 6 a.m. to 2. And at 6 a.m., right when the doors open, I would open up the doors. I'm from Germany. It's late evening now. You post very good videos, the top tier topics. Well, I appreciate you. Shout out to Germany. I appreciate you watching and I appreciate your time. But and like I said, if you got to go, I understand. You know, you said it's evening now, so good night. It's morning over here, so bright and early. Well, not bright and early, but you understand. But I used to open up the grocery store at 6 a.m. and every morning, same time, it would be older black gentlemen coming in there, and I would hope they was coming to, get some donuts or, get a coffee or something, but no, they would come in there to get a beer. You know what I'm saying? And it was painful to see because I was like, at some points, they gave up. They said, forget it. It had to be at some point. They just was like, whatever, my life's over with. I'm gonna focus on that. And I and it kept waking like I would see it. It's like something that I think some things are put in front of us, like, do you want to be that? Do you want that to be your future? And it wasn't me looking down on them because if life pushes you to the point where you give up, it had to be like some rough things that happened. Or maybe you did everything you could and it just didn't work out and you ended up to that point. But my main thing was I didn't want to end up like that where I just gave up, where I'm just, my only focus is, you know, oh, okay, the grocery store about to open up, I can get a beer. I don't see it as much anymore. Maybe it's because I don't get out much, but when I see or I notice or I get the vibe that somebody just gave up on life, it's like it's crazy because we only got one life, only one. And as I said before, I hit rock bottom four, about 4 times. I'm gonna say three just to be on the safe side, but I hit rock bottom about 3 times. And it's like each time I never had the urge to give up. I never had the urge to be like, you know what, forget it all. I'm good. Don't even worry about it. I'm just gonna chill. And even if I did like have a little stale moment where I was just chilling, it's still every day I would be like, this ain't it. I can't do this. Can't just settle and just work this, or live paycheck to paycheck my whole life and just be, oh, every time I want to go out to the movies, I got to sit back and look at all my money and be like, oh, okay, well, that leaves me with $120 and I get paid next. But then when I get paid, I gotta, you get the point. Like, what life? That is not a life to live. And that's how most of us live. And that's the terrible point. It's like it seems like for a lot of us, the doors are not opening. There's no opportunities coming about. And all you hear when you go everywhere is like people with money, oh, they put the work in. They made good decisions. And the people without money, oh, you didn't do enough. You should have did this. You should have took that opportunity. But sometimes the opportunity never comes. And sometimes the opportunity is in your face, but it's like sometimes you just don't notice it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take that leap of faith. But it's like if you keep taking leaps of faith in life and you end up hitting rock bottom each time, it's going to be harder and harder to take them chances. Just like if when it comes to uploading videos, it's easy if I'm one of those people because it has happened where you be like, I want to do YouTube. You post a video, it go crazy. It's easy to post the next video. Okay, if that video went crazy, of course you're going to be motivated to do the next one. It's not easy when you post 1,000 videos and all of them are, they do nothing. And that's how life is for a lot of people. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity, fail. I'm gonna take another opportunity, fail. And then you fail 3 more times and lose it all just because you tried. And then the people around you, they're not really supporting you. They low key are happy that you failed because now it makes them feel comfortable that they didn't try. They're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't try. And it's like, if you work 2 jobs and do a little something on the side for a long time, you're going to be doing more than everybody that you work with, but sitting in the same spot. You want to talk about discouraging? That's enough right there. That is 100% enough right there. And like as I said before, rock bottoms are needed. I know it's a painful thing to go through. I know you're not thinking that when you're going through it. I know you hate when people say everything happens for a reason as you're going through it, but and I'm not being trying to be a preacher, but I feel like in order to grow in life, you have to be uncomfortable. You have to hit those spots. I don't wish it on anybody. I hope you're one of those. If you're watching this now, I hope you're one of those people that never hit rock bottom, or never have a time where you lose it all and you got to start from scratch. I hope you don't, because it can happen to good people. It can happen to anybody. But I appreciate you watching, whether you watch for a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, stopping by, clicking. You don't, I'm not known. So if you took the time to come in here and watch me just for a second, I appreciate it. It's a million videos being uploaded every day on YouTube. And the fact that you stopped and said what's up or whatever, uh, I appreciate it. I go live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 11 a.m. I'll be trying my best to be on time with that because, I want to get into everybody's routine. I want to have a routine and I want people to be like, oh, it's 11:30. Les might be on live. Or, oh, it's 11:05. Les might be on live. But whether you watch it on the live or watch it on the watch back, hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Even if you disagree, it's not about disagreeing, it's about how you disagree. Because you're not going to agree with everything I say. I be overthinking everything, and my perspective and perception is all over the place. But I appreciate you watching. If you got to this point, hit that like button. I said that about 4 or 5 times, but it helps me out a lot. And you definitely enjoy the rest of your day.